Hello students. So in the previous class we have studied about valence bond theory and their applications. So what is valence bond theory? What are the assumptions of valence bond theory? Then how will you apply the assumptions of valence bond theory in coordination compounds? With all four illustrations we have completed. So then, even though which explains many property of coordination compounds, which are also having some limitations. So let us see limitations of valence bond theory. First limitation, Werner theory also not clearly explains the color of a coordination compound. In this valence bond theory, which explains somewhat about color but does not clearly explain. So again, which does not explain about color of the coordination compound. Then second limitation, say magnetic character. In the Werner theory, one of the limitation, magnetic property of the coordination compound not clearly explained. But in this valence bond theory, magnetic property only for spin only compounds we have used. You can remember that formula, mu s equal to root of n into n plus 2. So for spin only based magnetic property which is explained but which is not explained for other type of complexes with other metals. Third limitation. So third limitation, as you know very well, in valence bond theory, we have studied in third point, we have two types of complexes based on, actually it is not a third point, it may be seventh point. See, n minus 1 d orbital involving means we can say low spin complexes or inner spin complexes or spin free complexes, like we have several names. So that inner and outer complexes formed with same metals. So the same metal can able to form two different complexes. One is the inner spin, that is called a low spin complex, which forming diamagnetic character. The another one is high spin complexes. So see, the same metal, it can form two different types of complexes. Why? That quantitative explanation not clearly given by valence bond theory. Let us take even one example. Fe Cn6 4 minus, same metal Fe with F6 4 minus, low spin complex FeCN6, high spin complex FeF6. If you see, which having diamagnetic character, but the second compound follows paramagnetic character. We can remember after hybridization, is there even one single electron or unpaired electron present, means we can say that is paramagnetic character. All electrons are paired means diamagnetic character. So from that we can understand, in valence bond theory, same metal forming two different types of complexes. What is the reason for that? Not explained by valence bond theory. So these are the limitations of valence bond theory, which does not explain color, magnetic property only for spin, based calculation, then same metal why forming two different complexes. All these not explained clearly. These are the limitations of valence bond theory. Let us go with next very important theory, that is crystal field theory. So what do you mean crystal field theory? So simply we can say CFT. How we are writing VBT, valence bond theory. Similarly, we can say CFT. What do you mean CFT? Crystal field theory. Right. Why we want to learn? Why the new theory, crystal field theory, is bring to explain the complexes. Listen, already we have studied Werner theory for complex compound, followed by valence bond theory we have studied. Even though in valence bond theory we have several limitations, to find the recovery or to remove the limitations of valence bond theory, we need new theory, that is only called crystal field theory. So in the crystal field theory, the two limitations of valence bond theory, color and magnetic property, is clearly explained. So we need another theory, that is only called crystal field theory. But this crystal field theory initially or originally prepared for ionic crystals, not for complex compounds. So for ionic crystals only, first they prepared this crystal field theory, but later, which also used for transition metals. We know that what is transition metals? D block elements only called D transition metals. So transition metal and their complexes we can understand by using crystal field theory. So now we will see the important salient features of crystal field theory. So what are the salient features or what are the assumptions? We have totally 5 points. First and second have the unique points. Then third further divided into 3 points. Right. So we will see the first one. What is the first step or first point in crystal field theory? You can remember in valence bond theory how they are forming bond by the interaction between positively charged metals which donate the electron from the ligands which forming the bond. In this crystal field theory, they are telling the bond between the metal and ligand purely ionic in nature. So what's the first point? The bond, or we can write metal ligand bond purely consider ionic bond. So what they are telling, ionic bond means which is formed by cation and anion. We know that how the ionic bond will form by the combination of one cation and one anion. So based on that it is formed like they are explaining in crystal field theory. So in crystal field theory, the bond between metal and ligand purely considered as an ionic bond. How it is formed? Because of electrostatic attraction between electron rich ligand and electron deficient metals. So, the first point, the bond between the metal and the ligand purely considered as an ionic bond. What is the reason they are giving? They are forming the bond due to electrostatic attraction. What is electrostatic attraction? The attraction between oppositely charged ions. Electron rich ligand. So, we can say negative charge. Electron deficient metal, we can say positive charge. So the negative charge ligand and positive charge metal forming bond, that is only considered purely ionic bond, that is made up of electrostatic attraction. So in the first point, we are able to understand they are forming attraction between positive and negative charge. That bond is called ionic bond. Okay. What's the second point in crystal field theory? We are giving the name, or we are segregating into two types of attraction. So in the first point, we have told which is existing with electrostatic force. So that force is formed due to two reasons. The coordination compounds having point charge are dipoles. Then what is point charge? Point charge means which is nothing but one side we have positive charge, other side we have negative charge. That charge is only called point charges. When this point charge will take place, metal ion. So metal ion always positive in nature. Negative ligand. So negative charge. So positive charge metal and negative charge ligand together we can say point charges. So how the coordination compounds are formed? Due to point charges or dipoles. What is it? Dipoles. Metal may be neutral. So metal, but metal means which having the tendency to form positive charge or which having the tendency to accept the electron. So metal in neutral state, and also that neutral metal in book it is given metal atom. Atom means which does not possess any positive or negative charge. Then neutral ligand. So which does not have any charge, but they are forming complexes. In the point charges, metal carries positive charge, ligand carries negative charge, so they are called point charges. What is it? Dipoles. In the metal we don't have any charge, in the ligand we don't have any charge, but due to donating and accepting nature of metal and ligand, they are forming complexes. So simply we can can say neutral atom with neutral ligand. What are the complexes formed? They are considered because of dipole interaction. So, first point we have studied coordination compounds formed due to electrostatic attraction. So, electrostatic means the charge, the attraction between positive and negative charge. How they are forming? We are explaining the second point. The coordination compounds may form due to point charges or dipoles. Point charges means positive charge metal, negative charge ligand. They are forming complexes. Dipole means metal atom. It is in neutral state. Ligand, it is in neutral state. But electron donating tendency carried by ligand, electron attracting or accepting tendency carried by metal atom, which forming complexes. Let us go with third point. So, by using that crystal field theory, we are going to follow 3 steps which are considered hypothetical steps. Why they are called hypothetical? Under the assumption, we are carrying all these 3 steps. So, in third point, which is the first point, in the first point, we just taking isolated gaseous state of any atom. So, what's the condition? Isolated gaseous state atom. So, first isolated gaseous state we have to take it. Then, in the central atom, what will happen? Which may be the central atom? All d block elements. So, d block element means which will have d orbitals. Okay, sir. How many d orbitals we have? 5 d orbitals we have. As you know, usually we will draw d orbital means 5 orbitals like it. What are the 5 orientations of d orbitals? D xy, D y z, D z x, then D x square, y square. The last one T z square. So, if you take any d orbital, it will have 5 type of arrangement. That is only called orientations. So, what are the 5 orientations of d orbital? D xy, d y z, d z x, d x square, y square, at last d z square. So, for the information, first 3 which forming double loops, right? If you take axis, in between the axis they are forming like this double loops. Totally 4 loops we can see for d x y y z z x. For d x y means in between x and y axis that 4 loops may present. If you take d y z, it may form in between y and z axis. Zx means it may form between z and x axis. So, first 3 orientations are 4 loops which in between the axis. So, they are called non-axial or in between axis. They are oriented or present in between the axis. But d x squared y squared along the axis. What do you mean along the axis? D x squared y squared, how do you draw? If you take like it will form dx squared y squared. Along the axis, the loops may present. dx z square, how you draw? Only two loops with donut shaped electron cloud in the center. This is z axis x. So based on that 5 orientation, we are dividing two. One is in between the axis, another one is along the axis. Who and all in between the axis? dxy y z x, but dx square y square and dz square along the axis. Okay, now you have understand. I hope you may understood what are the 5 orbitals of d orbital, then what are the 5 orientations and their name, everything. Now this 5d orbital in gaseous isolated state undergoing degenerate state. What is the degenerate state? It may undergoing some changes. It may increase their energy or decrease their energy. So from their normal state to some other state, it is undergoing, that is only called degeneration. So due to the degeneration, what will happen? Based on dxy, yz and dzx in between the axis forming one set, the remaining forming another sets. Okay, so the first point in third point, first point, if you take coordination compound under the isolated gaseous state, the central atom will have 5 d orbitals. All the 5 d orbitals may degenerate. Okay, it is degenerated. Now what will happen? The degenerated orbitals forming spherical negative charged field. All the 5 d orbitals forming spherical shape negative field. Negative charge field. Okay, where is the metal? The metal is present in the center of the spherical. That metal atom is surrounded, or around the metal the ligands are forming like spherically negative charged field. Now the field, spherical field is surrounded with the ligands. Fully we have ligands. What is the charge of ligand? Negative charge. We know that ligands having the tendency to donate electrons. Due to that, the sphere or imaginary spherical negative charge field is surrounded metal atom. Now what will happen? Due to the metal also having electron, now the ligands are forming spherical negative field. In between this negative charge, repulsion will take place. What will happen? Electron repulsion will take place. Due to this electron repulsion, the energy of all the 5 d orbitals increased. We know d orbital having 5 orientation. All 5 energy is increases. Why it is increases? Due to the electron repulsion between metal electrons and ligand. See, ligand forming spherically negative charged field around the metal atom. After forming, the metal also having electron in their own energy levels. That the electrons repel with ligands. Due to this repulsion, this all 5 d orbitals energy increases. So dxy, yz, Zx and dx squared y squared dz squared. All 5 d orbital energies increase due to electron-electron repulsion. Right? So the energy of all 5 d orbitals increase. Okay. After that, what happens? Anyway, these ligands approaching the metal towards bond direction. So the second sub point in third point, ligands approaching metal in bond direction. Anyway, the metal want to form bond between ligand and metal. Anyway, we need to form complex. Complex you want to form means metal and ligand will form bond. How they are forming bond? Listen. First, which is making negative charge field. Now, the metal orbitals energy is increased. After that, what happens? Even though negative charge repulsion is there, the ligands are planned to approach the metal in particular direction. In what direction they are approaching? In bond direction. What is bond direction? Based on the orbital nature. Certain orbitals are axial in nature or they are in between the axis. Certain orbitals are along the axis. So based on their arrangement, the ligands approaching the metal. Now what happened? We have to consider an octahedral field. So you just consider one cube. The middle of the cube, origin of the cube, we have the metal. Right? Now we are going to draw all 3 axes. What are the 3 axes? X, Y, Z. Right? Usually, how will you draw the X and Y? Right? So from front side to outside, you can say the x-axis is only x-axis. One side positive x, another side negative x. Now from left side to right side, we can draw. Y-axis, so minus y-axis. Positive y, negative y. Then we can draw from top to bottom. Z-axis plus Z minus Z. See clearly, you just imagine one cube, right? You just consider this is one of the cube, okay? You just imagine. Now, which having 3 axes. What are the 3 axes? First one, Z-axis, this direction. Then Y-axis, this direction. So we formed plus-like structure. Now the another Z-axis from top to bottom. Now you just remember all the 6 faces of the cube. 1, 2. That 1 and 2 pass with Z-axis. Then 3 and 4. There y-axis is passing. Now 5 and 6 is having x-axis. So all 3 axes I have drawn. Okay? Yes. You just consider this is for octahedral field. Okay. I just drawn all the possible axes. Now I told you the 5 orbitals are approaching the metal in bond direction. What are the bond direction? All these axial or all the axis direction only called bond direction. So all these 5D orbitals approaching in all x, y, z axis. So x minus x plus x plus y minus y plus z minus z. All these 6 directions these ligands are approaching. That direction only called its bond direction. Are you clear? The third point. First point we have studied. All 5d orbitals of metal undergoing degeneration. Degenerate. Degenerate means what? Which is increasing their energy levels. How we know that in the 5 states all d orbitals energy is increased due to the repulsion between electron and ligand electron. How it is formed? Ligands formed one spherical negative charged field. Right. Now, if it is increased all 5 energy levels, now these d orbitals present in the metal origin of the cube. Ligands are approaching in all bond direction. What are the bond directions? Plus x minus y plus y minus y plus z and minus z. Like all 6 directions, these ligands are approaching. Due to this approach, what happening? dxy, yz, zx. First 3 d orbitals having less energy, the dx square, y square and z square having high energy level. Listen. Third sub point in third point. The second point we have studied, they are approaching in bond direction. So due to that approach, what happens? This axis orbitals dx square, y square, dz square, energy is increased greater extent. Its energy is increased greater extent compared with or than dxy, dyz, dzx. We just taking 5 orbitals in the 5 d orbitals, 2 energies increased, remaining 3 energies decreased. Due to this energy difference, they are forming 2 different sets. This splitting of 2 set of d orbital only called crystal field splitting. So we took 5 d orbitals. Due to the bond direction approaching the axis, along the axis, which are the orbitals are present? dx square and what? dz square. dx square, y square, dz square arranged in along the axis. So the incoming ligands also approaching in the same axial position, like x minus x plus y minus y plus z plus minus z. Like they are also approaching in the axial position. So due to that, which are along the axis having high energy, which are in between the axis which having low energy, so they are split into 2 sets. This kind of splitting in the d orbital due to ligand is called crystal field splitting. Now after the splitting, what happens? They form 2 sets. Okay, sir. For that we can draw a diagram also. Energy. Now we have all the 5d orbitals, dx, y, z, zx, dx squared, y squared, dz square. Now due to that ligand approach which increase degenerated, now it is called degenerated. In this degeneration, further only dx square y squared is increased, then dx z squared. The remaining dxy, yz, zx all are having less energy. This is only our octahedral energy level, left or not. Okay, so only this kind of formation takes place. All 5d orbital in initial state which undergoing degeneration, which approaching that bond direction. Due to that approach, two of this d orbital undergoing greater extent of energy than remaining having less energy, so they are splitted into two sets. These two sets splitting is called crystal field splitting. Now look at this is its original energy level, certain increase in energy level, certain decrease from its original energy level. Why that symbol is written? That average energy level indicated delta. This O indicates for octahedral field. Let us see the last point, third point. What is that? After splitting, what happened? Still we didn't reach the formational complex. Still only the arrangements we have made. Not yet we have prepared complex. Then what happened? All this splitting, after this splitting, what happens? Further ligands approaching metal. Now what happens? The total energy is decreased. Due to this decreases of energy level, this decreasing energy only favors formation of complexes. Listen. Up to this point we didn't reach or any favor for compound formation. Now after this all the setting, further the ligand approaches the metal. Due to that approach, the energy of the metal is decreased. This decreases of energy of that orbitals is reason for formation of complexes. So now we can form complex formation. So how that crystal field theory is applied for octahedral field and tetrahedral field, we will see in the next video. Thank you.